for right now, I want to talk about the world's biggest sports brand. It's apparently stepping up its battle against StockX, Nike claiming in a court filing that it was able to purchase 4 pairs of fake Nike kicks from the online shoe seller, despite it coming in a box that says the footwear is, quote, 100% authentic. And now Nike wants to add counterfeiting claims to an already existing lawsuit that was filed back in February. Yahoo Finance reached out to StockX, hasn't heard back yet. Akiko, you know that this is a topic that I love dearly. I have purchased things on StockX before. What's interesting is kind of 2 things about this story. First of all, apparently there's a legal department at Nike that's just buying things on the secondhand platforms to see if they can find and fish out any sort of counterfeits. But then secondly, really how accurate it is for these reselling platforms, which have gotten massive, to actually check and make sure that the pair of Travis Scott ones are actually true Travis Scott ones as opposed to counterfeits from somewhere.
Well, we were talking about this in the break, how challenging it is for these platforms to be able to verify. I mean, I'm not sure it's that challenging to verify Nike specifically, right? But these are kind of claims that we've heard from those like Amazon before, who say, that Amazon isn't doing enough to verify the authenticity of what's on their platform. And the argument has always been, well, we're just a platform that allows for sellers to come on board. And it sounds like StockX is sort of the same.
Yeah, and I think that it's going to be interesting. I mean, this is just a lawsuit. These are allegations, right? Now, if it is indeed the case that these were counterfeits, then StockX might say, well, look, when it comes to our vetting process, we're doing what we can, but, counterfeits sometimes might bleed through. It could be a user error. This is not nefariously StockX trying to push counterfeit goods onto people knowing that they can make a profit. And I will say, on the point of counterfeits broadly in the shoe space, they have gotten very good over time.
With the counterfeits.
With the counterfeits themselves, which again, that's not StockX's responsibility to stop the supply of counterfeit goods that are coming from wherever. But, you can look on online forums, a pair of sneakers that are, let's say, for example, Air Jordan 1s, the subtleties to defining what is a counterfeit versus a real one is as small as the distance between the 2 eye holes on the top of the shoe. If it's 1 or if it's 2 centimeters, then that's the difference between fake and real. I mean, it is very, very good. And especially if the volume is high on these marketplaces, the people that are betting the authenticity, it's not like they have 30 minutes per pair of shoes to look at these things.
I would argue just overall with brand names, it's become harder and harder to differentiate between what's authentic and what's not. If you're talking about sort of, if there's such a thing as the high end of the counterfeit market, those who are really, brand name bags, right? Yeah. I mean, if you think about the quality of where they are before, compared to where they were even 10 years ago, it's definitely different. But isn't part of the argument here also that StockX had come out and said that they're going to go out of their way to verify the authenticity of these shoes, right, with the hashtag? This had a verification on it, and yet it was still fake.
Well,
that's at least what Nike is alleging.
And the concern here is, that's really what I guess the crux of this lawsuit is getting at, whether or not there was false advertising, as opposed to, let's say, fraud in pushing, things that are not 100% authentic. That might be a massive part of this too. I'm no lawyer, but I think at the end of the day, it's just that if you're going to advertise 100%, well, if you have, and not even 1 pair of sneakers that comes through that isn't authentic, well, then you've essentially lied to the people on your platform.
How many shoes do you think they had to buy to get to
4?
the 4? I mean, that's it, right? That's sort of the rate. I mean, any counterfeit is bad, but just what percentage of the shoes that are being sold are counterfeit?
If it's 4 out of 8, then that would be pretty high. If it's 4 out of 100 and it's like Russell Westbrook shooting numbers, then that's a whole
No, the dig, again, I don't know if people get that joke. Inside joke.
Whatever, we'll leave it there.